What would you do if your own family looked your teenage daughter in the eye on Christmas Eve and told her she wasn't welcome at their dinner table? That there was literally NOROOM for her? Well, that's exactly what happened to us last Christmas, and what I did next shocked everyone, including myself. But before I tell you how I handled this unforgivable situation, let me take you back to where this nightmare began. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I share real-life family drama stories and the lessons we can learn from them. Make sure to hit that subscribe button because today's story is going to leave you absolutely speechless. Now, I need to warn you up front, this story involves family betrayal at its worst. It's about favoritism, manipulation, and how sometimes the people who are supposed to love us unconditionally can be the ones who hurt us the most. This happened to my family just 10 months ago, and I'm finally ready to share what really went down that Christmas. Some of you might think I overreacted. Others might say I didn't go far enough. But I can guarantee you one thing: by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why I made the choices I did. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let me tell you about the Christmas that changed everything for my family forever. Let me paint you the picture of our family dynamic first, because context is everything here. I'm Sarah. I'm 42, and I'm a single mom to the most amazing 16-year-old daughter, Emma. Emma's father passed away when she was just 8 years old, so it's been just the two of us for the better part of a decade. We've built this incredible bond. She's not just my daughter. She's my best friend, my partner in crime, and honestly, the strongest person I know. Now my family. That's where things get complicated. There's my parents. Mom is 68, Dad is 71, and they live about 45 minutes away from us in this big, beautiful house they've owned for 30 years. Then there's my older sister, Jennifer. Jennifer is 45, married to Mark, and they have twin boys who are 14. Let's call them Jake and Tyler. Here's where you need to understand the family dynamics. Jennifer has always been the golden child. Always. She was the one who got married first, had kids first, bought the big house in the suburbs first. She's what my parents consider successful, whatever that means. Me? Well, I was the one who married young, had Emma young, and then became a widow at 34. In my parents' eyes, I was the daughter who struggled, the one who needed help, the one whose life didn't go according to their perfect plan. But here's the thing that really matters for this story. Emma has always been treated differently by my parents and Jennifer's family. Not badly, exactly, but differently. Like she was somehow less important than Jake and Tyler. Less worthy of attention, gifts, consideration. I had noticed it years ago, but I always made excuses. They're just closer to the boys because they see them more often. It's easier to shop for boys their age. Emma's just more independent. I was making excuses for behavior that, deep down, I knew was wrong. The signs were always there. Christmas presents that were clearly afterthoughts. Birthday parties for the twins that Emma wasn't invited to. Family photos where Emma was somehow always positioned on the edge or left out entirely. But this past Christmas? This was the moment where their true colors showed, and there was no denying it anymore. So, Christmas 2023. Every year, we have this tradition where we all gather at my parents' house for Christmas Eve dinner, and then stay over to open presents on Christmas morning. It's been happening for as long as I can remember, even after Emma's father died. We kept up the tradition. About 2 weeks before Christmas, I called my mom to confirm the usual arrangements. You know, just to make sure we were still doing the same thing. Emma and I would drive over on December 23 RD, help with cooking and preparation, and then stay through Christmas Day. My mom seemed different on that phone call. A little distant, maybe? But I figured she was just stressed about hosting. She's been doing it for decades, but she's getting older, and I know it's more work than it used to be. "Of course, honey," she said when I asked about staying over. "We'll see you on the 23rd." Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. December 23rd arrives, and Emma and I pack our bags. Emma was actually really excited she'd made handmade gifts for everyone this year. She'd spent weeks working on a photo album for my parents filled with family memories, and she'd knitted scarves for Jake and Tyler. This kid has such a big heart, and she was so proud of her thoughtful gifts. We drive over, and immediately something feels off. Jennifer's car is already in the driveway, which is normal, but there are also 2 cars I don't recognize. We walk in with our overnight bags, and that's when I see them, Jennifer's in-laws. Mark's parents, who I've maybe met 3 times in 15 years. They're sitting in the living room like they own the place. "Oh," my mom says when she sees us, and I swear there was panic in her voice. "Sarah, you're here." Like she forgot we were coming. Like she forgot about the conversation we'd had 2 weeks earlier. Emma's standing next to me with her overnight bag, looking around confused because the house is clearly fuller than usual. But she smiles and says hello to everyone politely. She's always been such a good kid. That's when Jennifer comes out of the kitchen and the look she gives us. I should have known right then that something was wrong. "Hey, Sarah," she says, but she barely acknowledges Emma. "How was the drive?" Small talk. Awkward small talk while Emma and I are standing there with our bags, clearly planning to stay the night like we do every single year. And then my dad appears. My dad walks into the living room, takes one look at Emma and me with our overnight bags, and I see this expression cross his face. It's like embarrassment, annoyance. I couldn't quite place it at the time, but now I know exactly what it was. It was the look of someone who'd been caught in a lie. "Sarah," he says, "can I talk to you in the kitchen for a minute?" Emma's busy greeting my mom and trying to show her the photo album she made, so I follow my dad into the kitchen, where Jennifer is pretending to be very busy stirring something on the stove. "So," my dad starts, and he won't make eye contact with me. "We have a bit of a situation this year." A situation. Those were his exact words. "Mark's parents are staying over tonight," he continues. "And with Jennifer's family here too, we're really tight on space." I'm standing there, trying to process what he's saying, because we've stayed over every Christmas for 8 years. 8 years. Even the first Christmas after Emma's dad died, when I could barely function. They insisted we stay over because family needs to be together during the holidays. "Okay," I say slowly. "Where do you want Emma and me to sleep? We can take the couch, or—" No, Jennifer jumps in, still not looking at me. "Mark's parents need the living room. Mark's dad's back has been bothering him, and they need the softer couch." I'm still not getting it. We've slept in stranger places. Emma and I once shared the air mattress in the basement when my cousin's family came to visit unexpectedly. So where, I start to ask, and that's when my dad drops the bomb. "We were thinking maybe you and Emma could just come back tomorrow morning for presents? You know, drive home tonight and come back Christmas morning?" The kitchen goes completely silent except for whatever Jennifer is stirring on the stove. I'm staring at my dad, waiting for him to say he's kidding. Waiting for the punchline. Because, surely, why he's not suggesting that his granddaughter, his 16-year-old granddaughter, who has been coming to Christmas Eve dinner and staying over for 8 consecutive years, should just leave. "Are you serious right now?" I ask. "Sarah, don't make this harder than it has to be," Jennifer says, finally turning around. "It's just one night. Emma will understand. Emma will understand." As if my teenage daughter should just accept being kicked out of her grandparents' house on Christmas Eve because some people she barely knows need more space. "Let me get this straight," I say, and I can feel my voice starting to shake with anger. "You want Emma and me to drive 45 minutes home tonight, on Christmas Eve, so that Mark's parents' people who aren't even blood family can have our usual spot? It's not about blood family, my dad says, but he still won't look at me. It's about being practical. Practical. I step out of the kitchen and look into the living room. Emma is sitting on the floor, showing Jake and Tyler her handmade gifts, her face lit up with excitement. She has no idea what's happening in the kitchen. No idea that her own family is about to kick her out. That's when it hit me the real reason for all of this. I walked back into the kitchen, and I looked at Jennifer, really looked at her, and suddenly everything clicked into place. This isn't about space, is it? I say quietly. Jennifer's spoon stops moving. This is about appearances. Mark's parents are here, and you don't want them to see that your sister is a single mom who needs to stay at her parents' house for Christmas. The silence in that kitchen was deafening. That's not Jennifer starts. Don't you dare lie to me right now, I cut her off. You're embarrassed by us. You're embarrassed that I don't have a husband to host Christmas at my own house. You're embarrassed that Emma and I are here taking up space that could go to Mark's real family. My dad finally looks at me, and I can see in his eyes that I'm right. Sarah, you're being dramatic, he says, but his voice is weak. Am I? Then explain to me why in 8 years of Christmas celebrations, this is the first time space has been an issue. Explain to me why Emma and I are the ones being asked to leave, not Mark's parents who live 20 minutes away and could easily drive home tonight. No answer. Explain to me why my daughter, why your granddaughter is being treated like she's disposable. That's when Jennifer finally shows her true colors. Maybe, she says, turning around to face me fully, Emma would be more comfortable at home anyway. She's getting older, and she might prefer her own space. Don't you dare speak for my daughter, I say, and my voice is shaking with rage now. Don't you dare pretend this is for her benefit when you're literally choosing strangers over your own niece. They're not strangers. They're Mark's parents. They're strangers to Emma. Emma has been part of this family longer than Mark's parents have even known you existed. The conversation was getting heated, and I could hear that our voices were carrying into the living room. The last thing I wanted was for Emma to overhear this and realize what was really happening. But it was too late. Mom? Emma's voice came from the kitchen doorway, soft and confused. Is everything okay? I turned around, and my heart just broke. She was standing there holding the photo album she'd made for my parents, and I could see in her face that she'd heard enough to know something was wrong. Everything's fine, sweetheart, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. We're just figuring out sleeping arrangements. But Emma's not stupid. She's 16, and she's been through enough in her life to recognize when adults are lying to her. Are we not staying over tonight? She asked quietly. The silence stretched on for what felt like hours. My parents couldn't look at her. Jennifer was suddenly very interested in her cooking again. Well, my dad finally said, we're just a little crowded this year, so we thought maybe. There's no room for us, Emma said. It wasn't a question. It was a statement, and the resignation in her voice absolutely destroyed me. Emma, honey, my mom started, but Emma held up her hand. It's okay, Grandma, she said, and I could hear her voice starting to crack. I understand, but here's the thing she didn't understand. How could she? How could a 16-year-old understand that her grandparents and aunt were choosing appearances over family? How could she understand that she was being rejected, not because there wasn't physical space, but because there wasn't emotional space for her in their version of the perfect family? Emma set the photo album down on the kitchen counter, very carefully, like it was made of glass. I'll go get our bags, she said quietly, and she walked out of the kitchen with her head held high, but I could see her hands shaking. That's when I lost it. The moment Emma left the kitchen, I turned to face my family, and I don't think I've ever been angrier in my entire life. Do you see what you just did? I said, my voice low and dangerous. Do you see what you just did to that kid? Sarah, you're overreacting, Jennifer said. She said she understood. She said she understood because that's what good kids do when the adults in their life let them down. She's protecting your feelings while you're breaking her heart. My dad stepped forward. Now, Sarah, that's enough. No, Dad, it's not enough. It's not nearly enough. That girl has been through hell and back. She lost her father when she was 8 years old. She's watched me struggle and work 2 jobs and cry myself to sleep some nights. And through all of it, she has been nothing but brave and kind and loving. I was crying now, but I didn't care. She spent weeks making gifts for all of you. She was so excited to give them to you. She talks about you constantly, about how much she loves her grandparents and her aunt and her cousins. And you just threw her away like she doesn't matter. We didn't throw her away, my mom said weakly. You told her there was no room for her. I shouted. On Christmas Eve, you looked my daughter in the eye and told her there was no room for her in this family. Jennifer slammed her spoon down on the counter. Fine, she said. You want the truth, Sarah? The truth is that this is getting old. The truth is that we're tired of tiptoeing around your situation. We're tired of making accommodations for the fact that your life fell apart and you never put it back together. The kitchen went dead silent. We're tired of pretending that Emma fits in with our boys when she clearly doesn't. We're tired of watching her mope around during family gatherings because she doesn't have a dad to talk about. We're tired of making everything about poor Emma and poor Sarah. I stared at my sister, and it was like I was seeing her for the first time. There it is, I said quietly. Finally, the truth. My parents were looking at Jennifer in shock, like they couldn't believe she'd said what they were all thinking, but were too cowardly to say out loud. Jennifer, my mom whispered. No, Mom, I'm done pretending, Jennifer continued. Mark's parents are here because we want them to be here. They're successful. They're stable. They don't bring drama everywhere they go. Emma doesn't fit in with this family. And deep down, Sarah, you know it too. I stood in that kitchen, looking at these people who I'd called family my entire life, and I realized that Jennifer was right about one thing. Emma didn't fit in with this family. But not because there was something wrong with her. She didn't fit in because she was too good for them. She was too kind, too genuine, too loving for people who could look at a 16-year-old girl and decide she wasn't worth their time. You're absolutely right, Jennifer, I said, and my voice was completely calm now. Emma doesn't fit in with this family. Thank God. I walked over to the counter and picked up the photo album Emma had made for my parents. It was beautiful. She'd spent hours on it, carefully arranging photos from years of family gatherings, writing little captions in her neat handwriting. I flipped through it slowly, and every single page showed Emma trying so hard to be part of this family. Emma helping in the kitchen at family dinners. Emma playing with Jake and Tyler, even though they barely acknowledged her. Emma sitting quietly in the corner at birthday parties, smiling for the camera, but clearly feeling left out. How had I not seen it before? How had I spent years making excuses for their behavior when it was so obvious that they'd never truly accepted her? You know what? I said, closing the album. Keep this. Look through it sometime and see if you can find even one picture where any of you are actually paying attention to Emma. Really paying attention to her, not just tolerating her presence. I tucked the album under my arm. Actually, no. Don't keep it. Emma made this with love, and you don't deserve that love. I started walking toward the living room, but then I stopped and turned back. Oh, and Jennifer? You're right that I never put my life back together after my husband died. You know why? Because I was too busy making sure Emma felt loved and supported and secure. I was too busy being her mother to worry about impressing people who were never going to accept us anyway. Sarah, my dad said, Let's just calm down. No, Dad. I'm done calming down. I'm done making excuses for you. I'm done pretending that this is normal family behavior. I looked at each of them one more time. Emma and I are leaving. Not because there's no room for us in your house, but because there's no room for us in your hearts. And you know what? That's your loss. Because Emma is the most amazing person I know, and you're all too small-minded and selfish to see it. I walked into the living room, where Emma was sitting on the couch with our bags at her feet. She looked up at me with these big, sad eyes, and I could tell she'd been crying but trying to hide it. Jake and Tyler were playing some video game, completely oblivious to what was happening. Mark was on his phone. Mark's parents were having a quiet conversation about something completely unrelated. None of them seemed to notice or care that Emma was falling apart right in front of them. "Ready to go, sweetheart?" I asked Emma, keeping my voice gentle. She nodded and stood up, shouldering her bag. "Wait," my mom said, coming out of the kitchen behind me. "Sarah, please. Let's not leave things like this." I turned to look at her, and for a moment, I thought maybe she was going to fix this. Maybe she was going to tell Mark's parents they could drive home and come back tomorrow. Maybe she was going to choose her granddaughter over appearances. "You could just... Emma could stay, and you could pick her up tomorrow morning?" she suggested weakly. My heart broke all over again. Even now, even after everything that had just happened, she was still trying to find a way to keep up appearances while making Emma feel unwanted. "Mom," I said sadly, "do you even hear yourself right now?" Emma tugged on my sleeve. "Can we just go, Mom?" she whispered. "Please." That's when I knew we were done here. Not just for tonight, but probably forever. "Emma," I said loudly enough for everyone in the room to hear, "do you want to say goodbye to anyone?" She looked around the room at all these people who were supposed to be her family. Jake and Tyler still weren't paying attention. Mark's parents looked uncomfortable, like they were finally realizing they were in the middle of a family crisis. Jennifer had stayed in the kitchen. "Bye, Grandma," Emma said quietly to my mom. "Bye, Grandpa." That was it. She didn't even bother with anyone else. We walked out of that house, loaded our bags into the car, and drove away from 8 years of Christmas tradition. The drive home was mostly silent. Emma stared out the window, and I could see tears rolling down her cheeks, but she didn't make a sound. About halfway home, she finally spoke. "Mom?" "Yeah, baby." "Did I do something wrong?" I had to pull over. I literally had to pull the car over because I was crying too hard to drive safely. I pulled into a gas station parking lot and turned off the car. Then I turned to look at my daughter, this incredible, strong, beautiful girl who had just been rejected by her own family, and I took her hands in mine. "Emma," I said, "look at me." She turned toward me, her eyes red from crying. "You did absolutely nothing wrong. Do you hear me? Nothing. What happened back there was not about you. It was about them, and their issues, and their inability to see how lucky they are to have you in their lives. But maybe if I..." "No," I said firmly. "No maybes. There is nothing you could have done differently. You have been nothing but kind and loving and patient with them for years. You've included Jake and Tyler in everything, even when they ignored you. You've helped Grandma cook even when she barely thanked you. You've sat quietly through family conversations that excluded you without complaining once." Emma was crying harder now, but I could tell they were different tears. Not just sad tears, but angry tears. "It's not fair," she said. "No, baby, it's not fair. It's not fair that they can't see how amazing you are. It's not fair that they chose strangers over you. It's not fair that they made you feel like you weren't good enough." We sat in that parking lot for probably 20 minutes, just talking. Emma told me about all the times she'd felt left out at family gatherings, but hadn't wanted to say anything because she didn't want to upset me. She told me about overhearing conversations where Jennifer would complain about having to buy Emma gifts. She told me about feeling like she had to be perfect all the time because she was afraid they'd stop inviting us if she wasn't. This kid had been carrying all of this pain for years, trying to protect me from the truth about my own family. "Mom?" she said as we were getting ready to drive home. "Yeah, I'm glad we left." "Me too, sweetheart. Me too." We got home around 8 p.m. on Christmas Eve. Our house felt so quiet and empty compared to the chaos we'd just left, but it also felt peaceful, safe. Emma went straight to her room, and I thought she was going to bed early, but about an hour later, she came back downstairs with her arms full of wrapped presents. "I still want to do Christmas," she said. "Just you and me." So that's what we did. We put on Christmas movies and wrapped the few last-minute gifts we had for each other. We made hot chocolate and ordered Chinese food because neither of us felt like cooking. Emma showed me the scarves she'd knitted for Jake and Tyler, and they were absolutely beautiful. She's incredibly talented at crafts. "What do you want to do with these?" I asked her. She thought about it for a moment, then smiled. "I think I'll keep them. Maybe I can give them to friends at school or donate them to a charity. People who will actually appreciate them." I was so proud of her in that moment. Instead of throwing them away in anger or keeping them as a reminder of what happened, she was already thinking about how to turn something painful into something positive. Christmas morning came, and it was actually wonderful. Just the two of us. No pressure, no walking on eggshells, no feeling like we had to be grateful for scraps of attention. Emma gave me this amazing scrapbook she'd been working on, not about the extended family, but about our little family of two. Pictures of our trips together, movie nights, inside jokes, all the ways we'd supported each other through the years. I gave her a promise ring, not a purity ring, or anything like that. But a ring that promised she would never have to settle for people who didn't see her worth, that she would never have to beg for love or acceptance from anyone. We were sitting on the couch in our pajamas, surrounded by wrapping paper and eating leftover Chinese food for breakfast, when my phone started ringing. It was my mom. I let it go to voicemail. Then she called again, and again. Finally, Emma looked at me and said, "You should probably answer it." So I did. "Sarah?" My mom's voice was shaky. "Honey, where are you?" "We're about to open presents." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Mom, we went home last night, remember? There was no room for us. But we saved your presents. We were waiting for you to come back this morning." They were waiting for us to come back. After everything that happened, after they literally kicked us out, they just assumed we'd come crawling back on Christmas morning like nothing had happened. "Mom," I said as gently as I could, "we're not coming." Silence. "What do you mean you're not coming?" "I mean, Emma and I are having Christmas at home this year. Just the two of us. But Sarah, it's Christmas. Families should be together on Christmas." The irony was unbelievable. "You're right, Mom," I said. "Families should be together on Christmas. Emma and I are together." "You know what I mean," she said, and I could hear frustration creeping into her voice. "The whole family should be together. The whole family was together last night when you told us there was no room for us." "Sarah, you're being ridiculous." We explained the situation. "No, Mom. You explained why OUR priorities, and Emma and I aren't on the list." I could hear voices in the background, Jennifer saying something, my dad asking what was going on. "Can you please just come over so we can work this out?" my mom pleaded. "There's nothing to work out," I said. "You made your choice last night. You chose Mark's parents over your granddaughter. You chose appearances over family. Now you get to live with that choice." "Sarah, please." I hung up. Emma was watching me with wide eyes. "Are you okay, Mom?" "I'm better than okay," I said, And I meant it. I'm free. The phone rang again almost immediately. This time it was Jennifer. I answered on the first ring. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she said without any greeting. "Mom is crying. Dad is upset. You're ruining Christmas for everyone."